her body was never really hers to begin with. Sure, she may have had it for the 27 years she's been on this earth. But her body, like all black women's bodies, never really belonged to her. Or maybe it never belonged just to her. When she said she had been raped by 3 white men, it became very clear that her body isn't hers alone. It belongs to a history that hates black limbs and lusts for black flesh. It belongs to a politics that mutilates black souls and muffles black voices. It belongs to a nation that invaded black wombs for pleasure and profit. It belongs to a nation that sold black bodies like cattle. It belongs to a court that said black folk had no rights that white folk were bound to respect. It belongs to a religion that said God had saved the African savages from their heathen homeland. It belongs to a region of citizens who went to war against their kin rather than give up the right to breed black bodies and keep them in bondage. Her body belongs to every white man who wants it and knows that a black woman can never be raped because she always wants it. After all, she is a willing prisoner of her carnal urges. Why would 3 white men ever have to take what a black woman has always been willing to give? Her body already belonged to them, because their grandfathers had willed it to them, just like her grandfather had done the dirty work so they could be clean and comfortable. One of them reminded her, just in case she forgot, "Tell your grandfather, thanks for the cotton shirt." She forgot that her body already belongs to them because the truth belongs to them. When a famous white man called her a hoe on his radio show, he let her know that her body was his to play with and speak of as he liked. He could diminish her, even dismiss her, as he saw fit. But her body also belongs to higher powers. It is on loan from the God who decided to give her life. At least that's what she's probably been told from the time she was a little girl. Back then, theology made little sense, except when there were stern reminders that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit. If her family didn't tell her, the church did, even if she didn't sit in its pews. The black church shows up whenever black folks say that God told them to love you, or help you, or instruct you, or uplift you. It also shows up when there are stern reminders that you're going to hell because you don't believe the way they believe, or because you behave the way they used to behave before Jesus saved them from the lake of fire. It shows up when sisters who mean no harm tell you to watch how you prance and switch. After all, if your body sways in the wrong way, it might even sway holy men to forget that your body belongs to God. Next thing you know, they'll be borrowing his temple for a night and saying that joy isn't the only thing that comes in the morning. Her body also belongs to every music video that pictures her as a hoochie, or trick, or gold digger, or skeezer, or chicken head, or hood rat, or slut. Her body belongs to the slow motion frames that capture her breasts jiggling, her hips gyrating, her behind protruding, and her torso writhing in sensual conniptions. Her body belongs to every lyric that tags her as bitch or hoe. She also belongs to every voyeur who pounds his flesh in the dark to splash in her ebony eroticism. She belongs to every fantasy of sex conjured by the pulsating rhythms of pelvic thrusts. She belongs to every would-be stud who peels off his roll of $1 bills to stuff into a moving G-string. She belongs to every woman who, in order to feed her children, has to dance for a living, either by twirling around a pole in a club or spiraling up corporate stairs to a glass ceiling. She belongs to every woman who has to hear that if she hadn't been acting so sexy, she wouldn't have been raped. But she belongs even more to black women. She belongs to that little black girl who was molested by her uncle and then intimidated into silence. She belongs to that black girl with budding breasts who was seduced by a man claiming to be her play father. She belongs to the black girl who committed suicide with her mother when they discovered they were both sleeping with the same married minister. She belongs to that teenage black girl who was sexually abused by their mother's boyfriend and then thrown out of the house when her mother desperately needed to believe her lover more than her own daughter. She belongs to the black girl who was murdered by her mother's living companion because he might tell how he had taken her virginity when she was 11. She belongs to the college student who was date raped and hushed into shameful self-denial by repeating inside her brain all the reasons why she wasn't really raped. She belongs to those other young women who have to escort men in order to usher kids into adulthood. She belongs to those young ladies who are reprimanded by their elders with harsh judgment. If you hadn't been acting so loose in an immoral profession, you wouldn't have been abused! If we never gain sight of her in all of this, never hear her voice or her story, she will only belong to myths and stories. She will only serve as a symbol, a cautionary tale. But she is more than that. She is a flesh and blood woman who may have been washed away from her truest identity by a wave of hurtful headlines and hateful speech. When she gets over that, and over all of us, she will one day, finally, perhaps even triumphantly, belong to herself.